Around a year ago, I made a video about Newcastle United and how they're the most rejected team in the world. In the video did pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. And now, it's been a whole year later, and how are these guys even worse than they were a year ago? Let me give you the rundown, right? These guys were rejected for around 7 players last year. Liam Delap, Joao Pedro, Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, Guehi, Wemo, Trafford. They got rejected so many times I can't even count on my fingers. And after getting rejected around 50 times, they had a pretty bad season. They were in the Champions League last year and they ended up finishing around 12th. What makes it worse, their rival Sunderland got promoted that same year and actually got European football. So being a Newcastle fan over the last year has not been pretty good. And going into this transfer window, they needed to rebuild. Now, I am not the biggest Newcastle fan channel. I am not a Newcastle source at all. But I know the biggest person to go to when it comes to this Newcastle news. People meet Jordy Josh, and he's gonna give us the rundown basically. Now, since they finished 12th and didn't have an actual good season, some Newcastle fans wanted Eddie Howe out. Jordy Josh over here was one of them. And when he heard that Andoni Iraola was gonna be leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season, he was ecstatic. Overall, very good manager, one of the best managers in the Premier League. Now, someone in this comment section actually made a very good point, saying, doesn't mean that he's 100% coming to us though. Josh replied saying, I mean, who else is going in for him? Athletic Bilbao for sure, Spurs maybe, but I'd choose us over Spurs any day of the week, but that's me. Keep that in mind for this video. This is going to be very important. That Newcastle are a better fit than Spurs. Just remember that, bro. Fast forward a couple months and Slottenheimer, aka the worst manager of all time in the history of the sport, leaves Liverpool. And with Slot being sacked, they swooped in and signed Andoni Iraola. This is the same Liverpool team that not only took Ekitike from them, also took Isak from these guys. The player who won them their first trophy in 70 years. Just keep that in mind. So Newcastle ended up switching targets to another player called Zadok Johanna. According to Josh, he is the Nigerian Messi, and Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Newcastle were all in for him. But at the end of the day, who do you think he picked out of those 3 clubs? Chelsea, Real Madrid, or Newcastle? I'll give you a second. Whatever you picked, you're wrong. He ended up joining Brighton. But that's another team that Newcastle rejected over. Also, the 3 options that were giving to him, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Newcastle, who the hell is picking Newcastle? That's like being given the choices of Prime Beyonce, Prime Rihanna, or Gorlog the Destroyer. What would you pick out of those 3? So Newcastle said, you know what, F that, forget all that, let's just get our coaching team, right? And they decided to go for a former Oxford head scout called Scott Mitchell. I don't know who that is once again, but guess what? Newcastle were rejected once again, and we all know that. That's not the guessing part. Guess what team he got rejected? You know what? I'll give you a hint. Not a Premier League team, not a La Liga team, not a Bundesliga team, not even in the first 2 divisions of England. League One. Leyton Orient. When I first saw this news, bro, I thought, oh, they got rejected by some French team, but no. English League One, not the French League One. Our buddy Josh here, he's distraught. How does this happen?
And then the unexpected happened.
One of Newcastle's best players, right? It is probably the top 3 players you'd mention right now. And Sandro Tonali, right? They got him from AC Milan a couple years ago. He's been a really good player for them. And he's decided, I don't want no more. He could have picked a lot of teams to go to. Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool. But he decided that he wants to go to Tottenham Hotspur. Not even prime Tottenham Hotspur. This is a Tottenham Hotspur team that finished 17th 2 seasons in a row. A team that was fighting relegation. Now, me personally, I don't know what's going on through his head. Maybe the bag at Tottenham is crazy. To be fair, all of Tottenham's signings this season, in my opinion, do not make sense. What kind of motion do they got over there? But to take one of their better players, bro, that shit hurts. And to Tottenham of all teams, man. If I were to lose a player to like Real Madrid or like an Arsenal or Barcelona, I could take that. Speaking of Barcelona, another player that wanted to leave Newcastle was Anthony Gordon. But at least this time, Newcastle was able to scam Barcelona. But to lose Gordon and Tonali in the same window is actually crazy, bro. Surely it cannot get worse than this.
It can.
You know how they tried to sign that Nigerian Messi and it didn't go well for them? They instead tried to go for a Real Madrid talent called Victor Munoz. He was on loan for Osasuna and Newcastle said, you know what, let's go after him. But that's when their bullies returned. Out of nowhere, there was no news, no build up, just a straight here we go. Victor Munoz goes to Liverpool of all teams. Another player rejected Newcastle to go to Liverpool. I was dying. I don't think Newcastle have had a W over Liverpool in about 10 years now. What makes it worse, they were linked with Bournemouth for 3 months and Liverpool showed up in like 10 minutes and got the deal done. Now obviously we've got a lot more motion than these little guys, right? They're legit our little bros. And you know what, as your big brothers, bro, we've got a massive deal for you, Newcastle, bro. We'll give you Cody Gakpo. You pay us like 60 million. And you know what, just for you, we're gonna get you a signed shirt from Mo Salah. That should do it for you guys. And after getting bullied by Liverpool once again, they have to play them on the first day of the season in the Prem. That's another 3 points. But then the worst news that could ever come to a Newcastle fan happened. Their star player, their last top 3 player that they had in Bruno Guimaraes. He was an OG. He was a Geordie through and through. He said himself he rejected Arsenal because of how much he loved Newcastle. He's a Geordie through and through. His kids are Geordies. Just for him to come out and say, I want out. Bruno Guimaraes wanted to leave Newcastle just so he can go to Arsenal. The same team he said he rejected.
Bruno's 4K magic. He wears a magic hat. He couldn't say for Arsenal, but he has said fuck that.
And Josh completely lost it. He couldn't fathom that Bruno Guimaraes didn't want to sit in 12th.
You are worse than Alexander Isak, and I mean that with every bone in my body. Wait, Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal, here we... No. You don't get to dictate this, Bruno. Just like Alexander Isak, you have went from legendary to mercenary. Get out of my club. Get the fuck out of my club, Bruno. Fuck off. Bruno Guimaraes, and I don't want to hear anybody say Bruno Guimaraes is the best football player I've ever seen wear this badge. Bruno Guimaraes is the best human I've ever seen captain my football club. But get the fuck out.
Look at the caption of this video. I'm never trusting a footballer again. If this is like a relationship, he got cheated on like 30 times now. And that's their top 3 players gone in one window. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is not left. He probably could stay, I don't know. But the chances of him staying at Newcastle is like the chances of me getting laid. But then there was another link. Newcastle decided to go after Johan Manzambi. He was a really good player and Newcastle were really close to signing him. I'm not even gonna say it this time. You can say it for me. They got rejected again, but this time for Aston Villa. I've lost count how many players have rejected them in this transfer window, but that's not it. One last rejection was needed for them. If you remember in my last video, I talked about how they got rejected by James Trafford and he ended up going to Man City. City ended up signing Donnarumma, which made Trafford available again. And Newcastle said, you know what, let me go back to my ex. And they tried signing James Trafford again. And they got rejected again. Leeds United. To be fair, nothing surprises me anymore. They got rejected by a League One club, bro. Leeds United. That's everyday news now. But after getting rejected this many times, you have to wonder, like, where do we go from here? Like, legit. They've regressed from last season considerably. Their top 3 players have all left the club. All of their top transfers have either been snatched out or rejected them. Like, legitimately, who do Newcastle even got anymore? Jordy Josh, this one time I'm gonna sympathize with you. Next game against Liverpool, maybe we'll give you 4 goals. Only 4, not more than that. If you give me an isak hat trick, I think we can negotiate with that. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. I've been recording for a long time. I've been yapping for a minute. The amount of footage I'm gonna have to cut out, Lord! That's the point though. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 15k subs. Almost at 10k subs. We already hit 10k subs. Calm the fuck down. Like the video if you haven't already, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Have a good day, y'all.